leaving video. It's a leaving video. And all your stuff.
I'm gonna miss you
Got your
so
hat.
much. I've been crying. Taking video. I cry every time now.
Hey everyone, this is Adrian.
And I'm Danielle.
And we are back with another relationship talk. Earlier in the year, we did a video discussing meeting on Tinder and online dating. And in this video, we're going to be discussing long distance relationships and the challenges and the process and our experience with it. We've been we've been together for about 3 years and 3 or 4-ish months. And throughout that, we've been going back and forth intermittently, really, with long distance dating. So in this video, we're going to discuss some questions about that and give our thoughts and experiences on it.
So question 1 is, what has been the cause of our long distance relationship? Me.
So,
I've been the cause.
specifically, what has been the cause? And then more, I guess maybe we'll go over the timeline. So what was the timeline originally? How long were we in dating a relationship before the first time you left? And what was the first reason you left?
So we were probably dating for 6 months, 7 months.
You probably have a better idea of the timeline than me.
And I got a job somewhere, and so I left for 6 months to do that job, and I had a 6-month contract. So when that was done, I returned to Canada, and then we were together for about a year without any interruptions.
Was it a whole year?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It doesn't.
Maybe a year. I feel like 8 months, but yeah, maybe a year.
Maybe 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I got an opportunity for school in Winnipeg, and so we live in Ontario, and so I've been back and forth. I promise him that every 3 months I see him. He swears it's like 6 months or 7 months, but because of the university, so I have coursework to do, and then I have a lot of stuff happening. So every 3 months or so you see me. Sometimes it's a bit longer, maybe 4 months.
Yeah, sometimes the challenge with the long distance relationship with us is that we don't always know when the next time we're going to see each other. But in summary, I think the main reason that we've been doing long distance relationships intermittently is because, like, she's found an opportunity that we both felt that it's best for her to pursue. She's been in Ontario, Canada, here where we are right now, and trying to make things work, trying to find opportunities, and it just hasn't worked out the way we would have liked. So when you found an opportunity elsewhere, whether for work or in this case school, we think it's the best decision for you to do that. Yeah. And then, we have plans for the future that we'll probably discuss later on in the video.
Yeah,
so
we'll get to that. So, sorry, I went on a tangent there.
So
but it was really opportunities for me, and it's discussions that we've had, but we're kind of skipping ahead questions. So
yeah, next question.
So for me, communication, in that there's a lot of miscommunication. So you don't hear the tone. We communicate a lot with text. We're not big on video calls.
Right.
We don't care
very much with text.
Yeah. And we don't do phone calls a lot. It has to be like an emergency. Like if he has a missed call for me, it means it's an emergency. So text message is how we communicate the most. And I feel like, because you don't hear the tone, you don't hear the context, and that's the main way in which we're communicating rather, there's a lot of like issues that can arise. Like
a lot of times because you're putting meaning to someone's words, like she's saying, you don't get the tone, and so you think they mean one thing, and then it turns out to be another thing, and then you go down this rabbit hole of like back and forth trying to figure out, and the arguments can come from that. With myself, I think the challenge is just the fact that I don't naturally find myself needing to reach out or call just for the sake of doing that. Some couples, they find themselves every day they need to talk 2 hours every night in order to feel like the connection is strong. Whereas I've never been like that, and we've never been like that in a relationship. Where even if we go a week without talking,
that's fine.
That's completely fine with us.
Yeah.
So I worry sometimes that if we let that go unchecked, that it could kind of create a little bit of a rift. Not that we'd like it would take us out of a relationship, but that it might weaken our bond.
I think so. Sometimes I worry about that because my other issue with long distance relationships, well, particularly ours, is that because we're in two different cities and we're doing our own thing, like we have our own lives, our own friends, our own schedule,
Right.
and we're no longer in the same place, so there's no like overlap anymore.
Hmm.
It's hard to make time to communicate, and it's hard to make time to like just have moments where it's just quality time. And our love language is definitely quality time. Like I
Yeah,
think
for
it's
sure.
it's the main thing that we enjoy doing with each other.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like we can go 3 weeks and we're both fine with it, but I always worry that it'll weaken our bond a bit because we're just so independent of each other that sometimes it's like 3 weeks and we're both like, yeah, we need to call each
Right,
other,
yeah.
and we schedule like, okay, let's call Wednesday at 10 o'clock. We're gonna call each other, and it's I think it's a bit of our personalities not needing
Yeah.
a ton of attention that way, and just because quality time means spending time with the person, if they're not there, it's our nature to just
Right,
kind of
yeah.
go, well, let me just do other stuff, and so it's hard for us to communicate that way because doing it over the phone or Skyping or whatever it is, video calls, it doesn't feel intimate, and I feel like we don't get the same thing
Almost,
out
almost a
of.
satisfaction. Like I'm so much more interested in this simple conversation sitting next to each other. I'm not the type of person that really can sit on the phone and have dull, kind of shallow conversation.
But it is the same conversation. Like it's me and you, so we're still trying to have the same type of deeper conversations we
The
have.
presence is not there.
But the presence isn't there, and I think it really affects how connected we are. And so
Right.
when we do meet each other, we do try to do a lot of walking and just spending that quality time to make up for the fact that we just don't do it. We don't do a good job of.
Communicating, which leads into the next question, which is like, how do we communicate? Like, how do you communicate when you're that far away from each other? Everyone will have their own way of doing it. I think that what we've tried to do in the past is like set up like 2 hours every Sunday night to do that. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I think for us going forward, we're going to try to set a specific day that works best with both of our schedules, and spend 2 hours. And I kind of think that for us, doing one long video chat every week gives us an opportunity to like share what we did that
Yeah.
week, share what we learned, share what we experienced or came across, as opposed to talking every day where there's nothing new
Yeah.
to discuss. I mean,
And-
we define conversation, but I think it's a lot more better to have it all kind of put it to the side until that Sunday night, and then have a real quality conversation and just a normal discussion.
And I honestly don't think I'd like calling someone
Yeah,
every day.
I don't think so. I don't do that with anybody. Not family, not friends, not her.
Nah, and we care about each other. We love each other, but we both are the same in terms of how much, like, especially when we're apart.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think we can do everyday calls or even communicate that often throughout the day. That doesn't happen. If we are communicating throughout the day, it's really.
Like we'll send WhatsApp messages to each other throughout the whole day.
Yeah, so I feel like we do that, but it's
Right.
like memes or just like jokes or like,
Or-
yo, this happened and it's funny,
Yeah.
but it's not quality. It's really just shallow back and forths that we're probably sharing the same memes with like other friends, and that's
Yeah, or like sharing articles or something
Yeah.
that seems interesting. What I've wanted to do is have a time where we sit down, like not on a Sunday, but throughout the week, where it's like we watch one of our favorite shows together, animes or whatever, and then start watching it at the same time. And just knowing that we're both watching it together, and then maybe discuss after.
yeah.
It's a form of quality time.
Yeah, because that's one of the things we do a lot when we are together. It's watch shows. There's particular shows that we watch, and we've had issues where one person watches the show while the other person is away.
Very rarely. Like,
You've done that. And
Anyways.
I'm like, Adrian, you watch the show. But like, yeah, that's a good way that we can do it. Like, we're both watching it. So this is not what we do. This is probably what we plan on doing in the future. Though what we've been doing pretty much works for us, because when we do need to talk to each other, if something is really bothering us, I still know he's my person to call and just cry or like let him know what's happening. In terms of like my university, I think that if I was here, it'd be harder to balance
mhm.
our relationship and everything else I have on my plate. When I'm away, I'm just doing my thing. Like, I can prioritize me. I can stay up as late as I want to work on whatever I have in front of me. I don't have to feel guilty that I'm not making time for you.
Right, exactly.
And I feel like you feel the same way, where you can really get your projects done and you don't have to feel bad that, oh, I'm here, I need to spend time with Danielle.
Yeah, so I mean that's definitely my like for me, I'm the type of person that can pull a lot of positives from any situation. And as much as I would like to have her here, I know that number one of my big priorities this year, especially going forward, is to create one video every week for the YouTube channel. And as you were saying, the challenge with that is that when I'm here, after I'm done work, I feel like there's almost an obligation to set aside quality time for us, even if it's just going for a walk, even if it's just sitting here watching a movie. And I prioritize that more than creating the videos, which you might think is the right thing to do. But when you're really trying to focus on a passion, you have to be able to, there has to be a certain sacrifice.
Yeah.
Short term for a season. And for me, I really want to spend the next like 12 to 18 months really focusing on getting better at creating videos, building the channel, building the audience. So when you're not here, I feel like that gives me the opportunity to really just go all in and just completely indulge in my work and in my creativity. So it really helps me to focus. Because I feel like I have a debt to owe to you every night. It's like around 8 or 9, I feel like whatever I'm doing, it's time to come in, settle down, and just spend time. And yeah, it kind of gives us an opportunity to not do that because you're not here, obviously. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think that when you're here, it's harder for me to organize my time. Whereas when you're not here, I know I can wake up at a certain time, do things for a couple hours, work. After work, I can go to the gym, I can go for runs, I can work on videos, and I don't have to organize it around anybody. We don't have kids.
Yeah.
We don't have any other major responsibilities. So yeah.
It's one of the, definite advantages. The other thing that I was thinking of is just the way me and you are, like, we're introverted, and so a lot of times after work, when we were both working, if we had to see each other, we still needed more time apart, just because we work with a lot of people, we have to engage with a lot of people, and so when we saw each other, it's like, oh no, more people. And so we'd spend time together, but I'd be in one room and he'd be in the other room doing separate projects. And I feel like just being introverted, having that space that's just your own, because I live alone, he lives alone here, it is nice. Like, I feel like it is kind of nice to know when I come home, it is my like little sanctuary of silence for the next 8 hours, 12 hours, where I can just be away from people. I love people, but I need to
This is another good point, because I know that even when we're here, there will be times where I just find myself, I need to separate myself. I need to go for walks alone. I need to go in the other room, just lay there and be with my thoughts and know that I'm not going to have any interruptions. And it's been challenging when we're in such a small place. We don't have a huge place, so having our own kind of area for solitude is more challenging when we're together. And when you're gone, it's good times.
The last thing is I'm vegan and he isn't, so it's great when I can just buy whatever I want and eat whatever I want and not have to think about him and his meat, and you don't have to think about me and my non-meat. And so
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great point, because when I'm here, usually when I'm by myself, I'm cooking all the time, but when she's here, I'm cooking less because I know that what I'm eating, she won't want to eat. So we either compromise by going out, or we'll try to find a meal that has a base that we can both eat, and then create something separately to add to it.
Yeah, so we make this one big pot of whatever it is, and then I add my veggies and vegan stuff, and then he'll add his chicken to it. Yeah. We're great partners, and I feel like our relationship is worth it, and we've both decided on what happens in the future, and we know this is only short term. If we knew indefinitely that we would be apart, I don't think we would both venture into this long distance. We know that this is short term, and I need to have satisfaction in work and my career and that sort of thing, and so these sacrifices are just for now. And we knew what the timeline is, so we know at least 2 years of sacrifice, but after that we should be in a space together, because I don't think we would have, right?
No, we're completely realistic. We don't we don't kind of sugarcoat things. We're not all into the whole like one and only and soulmate.
No.
The reality is, what keeps us going is knowing that this is a short-term sacrifice and there's a long-term gain that we have planned out. We want to get to the point where we're able to travel and while earning income. We know that the sacrifices right now are gonna benefit us both because we have similar goals in the future. We want to live abroad. We want to have a way to work remotely, and so these are the sacrifices right now. And if we thought that our futures are going to be going separately, we would just end the relationship.
Yeah.
As much as we love each other, we're like we're realists, I guess.
Yeah. But we also think the relationship is worth it because we see ourselves in the future together. And we think it is a relationship that we want to commit to and we want to be partnered in the future together. So it's being realistic about the timeline and being honest with each other about what we're willing to sacrifice and what is our maximum. It's like after 2 years, if we have to continue being apart, we'll have to reevaluate.
Who knows? Yeah, it's all about communication at this point. I know some people, when they're in long distance relationships, maybe sometimes they start out that way and they don't know where they're going to be able to merge. We started out together and we've created a plan. We've communicated our goals and our ideal lifestyle.
Right.
Being able to live in different countries for 1, 2, 3 years. We understand, we planned out our finances to figure out how we're going to make that happen. If she's able to get a project or a job in another country, maybe I won't be able to as quickly. Maybe I won't, I'll have opportunities with videography, but we know that maybe she'll be the one that's kind of holding the fort down while I'm looking for something or while I'm building it up.
Yeah.
So communication is a big thing, but to summarize the answer, it's knowing that we have a future that aligns with each other
Right.
going forward.
And this is a short-term sacrifice.
Yeah. So the advice I would have, and everyone's situation is different, but in our situation, what we discussed earlier a bit is communication. Understanding, between the two of you, do you want to buy a house at some point? Do you want to settle in the place that you grew up in? Do you have family that you are not willing to leave, or maybe organizations, churches, commitments, maybe even careers that you can't transfer. Maybe you're really committed to the opportunity you have at hand that you worked for, and you just don't want to give that up. So communication is a big thing. Understanding that, like maybe people, you want to have children, and maybe you're the type of people that don't want to risk having children in other countries. We understand. We've communicated about our thoughts around buying houses and properties. We don't have any desire to have children. We're willing to move away from family with plans of when we're going to be able to return and meet back with them. So the biggest thing is communication and making sure you have aligned goals.
And in terms of communication, it's also opening yourself up to help. Because we had some issues. There was a summer that we had been like back. We never really fight. Like I must admit, we have like.
Yeah, not very often. And if it is, it's kind of petty stuff, but nothing too serious.
Yeah, and it's not like a fight. That's just like us. Yeah, I mean like proper arguments that go on. It doesn't really happen. And there's one summer where we were apart. It was just happening over and over and over again, right? And it was escalating really quickly. And so we took the time out to do that audiobook.
Yeah, there's a book called Non-Verbal Communications.
No, non-violent.
Yeah, non-violent communications. Yeah.
No, we were violent.
Yeah, I'll leave a link to it in the description. But yeah, non-violent communication. It's a great book. I listened to it 3 times. I listened to it twice before I even let her know about it. But that really helps you understand how to communicate in regards to the main point of the book. I still recommend listening to it, but it's about recognizing what your needs are, what needs aren't being met, and expressing yourself through feelings. Like, what are your feelings? Not blaming the other person for the feelings, accepting responsibility for it, but communicating what is the stimulus for those feelings.
Yeah, in a way that you don't threaten that person. And so I agree with him. Communication is key, and it's like we said before. It's something that we are actively working on, and it's something that communicating, figuring out a schedule, especially if you're like in different time zones. Like we're never in crazy differences.
No, it's like an hour or something like that.
But some people are in like 12-hour time zone differences, and so like figuring out a system and a method that works for you is important.
A lot of people might think, if you're in a long distance relationship, you probably miss like intimate stuff, like sex and whatnot. But for me, what I miss the most is just the simple things of sitting on the couch, watching a movie, cuddling up together, and just watching the movie, like just having that experience.
For me, it's like new experiences that I'm having that I know Adrian would enjoy. It's like if I'm going on this hike and I'm in this beautiful lake and I'm like, if Adrian was here, and it's just like, what? Or I'm hearing this great talk, or I'm at this great like event and I'm just like, Adrian would love this. And it's just having not being able to share the experiences together anymore. And I feel
Right.
like I enjoy sharing new experiences with you, and having those new experiences and not having you a part of the memory.
And so the reason we're actually making this video is because we're about to go into another period of long distance relationship. As of tomorrow, so I don't know, 12 hours from now. Yeah, about 12 hours from now, I'll be flying her, or I'll be driving her to the airport to fly back to Winnipeg. So we thought it'd be a great opportunity to make this video, kind of discuss the situation, and hopefully people that are in similar situations can get some ideas, or at least feel like other people can relate. I find that just seeing someone that you don't even know, just across the land of the internet, just being able to relate to them allows you to kind of feel a little bit better about your situation. Ask questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask that in the comments below. I answer every question I get, every comment I respond to, so definitely feel free and welcome to do that. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think we covered it all.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing the video with me. I know you're about to leave. I think you're all packed up and ready to go, right?
I am.
Cool. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you got some type of insight from that. And I look forward to making the next video with you.
I look forward to being your guest.
Take your stuff.
Those are my tears. You want them. It's because you caused them.